Welcome to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I'm going to take a few minutes of your time to show you what it's like to work at BIS, but also what it's like to live in this very, very exciting city. Follow me. Ho Chi Minh City, also known as Saigon, is Vietnam's largest metropolitan area with a population of almost 10 million people. Of all of Asia's major cities, Saigon is truly unique. Hints of Vietnam's history are woven into the fabric of what's becoming one of the region's fastest growing economies. New skyscrapers, improved infrastructure, and modern conveniences all highlight Ho Chi Minh City's lead role in Vietnam's transition to a market economy. Now, whilst there's a lot that will seem familiar to you here, there are a few things that may take a bit of getting used to, like getting to the other side of the street. Now, crossing the road in Ho Chi Minh City, it can be a little daunting, but it's not as dangerous as it looks. All you got to remember is to keep going, don't stop, and presume that the cars will go around you. Once you're comfortable crossing the streets, you'll find that getting around is actually quite easy. Taxis are affordable, safe, and easy to find. After you're settled in, you'll want to get oriented. Your first stop should be the downtown area known as District 1. And this is where most of the key historical sites are located, along with a number of great restaurants, cafes, and bars. Surrounded by scenic rivers and blessed with a year-round tropical climate, make sure you put on your walking shoes, as it can be quite pleasant to stroll through this part of town whilst you take in the sights. So this is Ben Thanh Market. Now, you've probably heard of this. It's Ho Chi Minh's biggest and oldest market as well. Now, you're not always going to get the best bargains here, but it's got everything. It was once described as Ho Chi Minh's Walmart. It's like the massive supermarket. But you can get everything here. I mean, you've got the equivalents of Ho Chi Minh's Wilkinson's over there for your hardware goods. You've got the equivalents of, hi, xin chào. You've got the equivalents of Ho Chi Minh City's watch shop over here. You've got Ho Chi Minh City's Primark with the clothes over there as well. You can get everything. Like I say, you might not always get the best bargains in the world, but it's a must-see. Plus, if you've ever heard of Weasel Coffee, they sell it just over there. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. I'm not going to explain it to you. Of course, sightseeing is one thing, but you're probably wondering what it's like to actually live and work here. To help you learn more about what it's like to be a teacher at BIS in Ho Chi Minh City, I'm going to introduce you to a few people who will give you a better idea by sharing their own experiences. Now, back home, if you need a spot of refreshments, you may be tempted to go to the pub for a pint. However, out here, you may want to try one of the great amounts of tropical fruit juices that are, of course, available on your doorstep. Now, with me today, I am joined by Helena, who works at the BIS secondary campus as the head of history. Okay, so Helena, you moved here 3 years ago with your husband. How would you say the transition was for him?
It went exceptionally well, actually. Initially, we were worried about finances with only one of us in work, but finances were fine and we managed to be able to go out and eat and drink and everything, so that was fine. He managed to get a tutoring job because he has experience with maths and science, so he did some GCSE tutoring. No other dependent spouses have done a TEFL course, which you can do in Ho Chi Minh City. Also socially, he was fine. He was a part of some rugby clubs, rugby union, rugby league. He also went to the gym and he did quite a bit of community work with orphanages that are linked to our school.
Now, people back home, they may still consider Vietnam to be a very developing country. But what about the medical facilities out here? What are they like? Actually,
they're exceptionally good. The healthcare is great. The doctors have been brilliant. They're international doctors from all over the world, and I haven't had any problems so far. They're great for adults and children alike, or people who are pregnant.
Now, people applying for a job here in Ho Chi Minh City may be thinking it's going to be drastically different. But what advice could you give them for settling in?
Well, sure, it's a long way from home and you have to think these things through. Actually, once you get settled here, it's fine. The culture's great. It's brilliant to experience something different from home. But then when you go to work, your everyday life settles into a pattern and just becomes normal. So don't overthink it too much. It's great.
Now, it's one thing for me to tell you about what it's going to be like for you when you move to Ho Chi Minh City and experience life here, but I think it's going to be a bit more relevant to hear from somebody who was in your shoes not that long ago. Now, with me today, I'm very lucky to be speaking to Michelle. Now, she's in her first year of teaching. Now, Michelle, the plane lands in Ho Chi Minh City Airport. What's the first thing that hits you?
The contrast with the weather. Leaving rainy London and arriving in a beautiful daylight of Ho Chi Minh City. Absolutely fantastic. BIS staff greeted us with a beautiful welcome basket. We'd met friends straight away who are still friends to this day.
Fantastic.
So, very friendly.
That's great. Now, obviously, it's very different out here. What has surprised you the most about Ho Chi Minh City so far?
I was warned from friends who had travelled before that I should be aware of the motorbikes and the traffic.
Okay.
However, I wasn't quite expecting it to be as hectic as it was.
And how would you say that your lifestyle has changed here compared to as it was in the UK?
So many more opportunities out here. Back in the UK, I could have gone to Edinburgh or to Plymouth at a weekend, whereas here I'm able to go to Singapore, Bangkok, KL just on my weekends, which I do quite a lot. Really, I've moved to Southeast Asia and I can explore Southeast Asia, not just Vietnam.
A great way to put it. Michelle, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Of course, accommodation is going to be a very important thing for you to consider when moving to Ho Chi Minh City. Where are you going to spend your time when you're not working at BIS? Now, we're here today at one of the apartment complexes, which is typical of the kind of place where you're actually going to be staying. And to tell you a bit more about this, I'm joined by Ash. Now, Ash is in his first year of teaching here at BIS. You're a seasoned expat traveller, so you've had your experiences of accommodation packages before. How would you say the accommodation compares over here?
Oh, it's a great place here because it's an absolute brand new complex. It also has great facilities. It's got a pool here, we've got a games area, great location, great facilities, really love it here.
Now, being a seasoned expat, you've had your experiences of settling into a new country, so you've got to sort out rent, you've got to sort out gym memberships, your health benefits. But what kind of experiences have you had here? How have BIS helped you settle in?
It's easy. The school provide the accommodation, so you don't have to think about rent. Medically, they have international medical insurance, so that's provided, nothing to worry about that side. Gym membership, easy, no problem at all.
Now, being here for only a short period of time so far, how have you found the language side of things? I mean, is it difficult to get around if you're not very familiar with the language?
Not too bad. Wherever I've been, I've always learned taxi phrases. So to get about, straight, left and right. So it makes it much easier to go out and explore the city. They don't mind if you're making a mistake. As long as you are having a go, they're quite happy with that. So for me, it's all part of the adventure.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our tour. This has really been just the tip of the iceberg of this wonderful city that is Ho Chi Minh. Obviously, I can't show you everything in one go, so you're just going to have to come over here and experience it for yourself. Hopefully, you've got a taste of what it's like to live in this wonderful city and work at BIS. And as the Vietnamese say, Heng Gap Lai.